What are you seeing from your old team this year?
I think it was 4 or 5 years in the making, and those guys are playing playing really well. So
That make any different for you this week personally going up against them?
we got our own game team goals and aspirations that we're trying to get accomplished. So we're so consumed about that. I have every opportunity we get is an opportunity for us. So that ain't gonna change. A little bit more familiarity with the people and the guys there, but other than that, man, for both teams, it's going an opportunity.
What's that balance like, trying to plan for a player and make a defense plan for a player like Luke, and still know that when they want to, if you drop back too far, they're just going to run it and dink and dunk you with the run game every once in a while?
It's a full-quarter game. Literally for Washington State, he makes everything go, and he's got a good supporting cast. And it's been working. And those are the things that we just got to make sure that we're detailed and again in our game plan and our execution. But he's gonna make his place. That kid is blessed with a lot of tools, and it shows every Saturday.
Shows why they're ranked number 11 in the country too, right?
Well, you win, you get rewarded for those things. So.
When you say that's 4 or 5 years in the making for them, is it the fact that their defense is finally catching up to where the offense has been? What's the difference for them?
Both, recruiting and all those things in place. And, Mr. Moose been doing a fantastic job from day one. And, those things are in place, and you're starting to see that program flourish even more so.
You talk about the development of Jalen Jones as a player. How's he?
He's a kid that loves football. And part of recruiting is recruiting kids that have passion for the game. Sometimes that passion gets to get a little dimmer when things are not going right away. But it's the generation now. The instant gratification is so high. We got to make sure that we recruit to that type of a kid. And also, to his credit, he's been able. And again, when we took over, it's not always easy for the players to have a new regime after having a long relationship with the previous coaches here. But man, all they've done, Jalen and everybody, is try to buy into what we try to establish, and with Coach Taggart down to Levin and everything that we've done thus far. And so my job is to make sure that I teach and coach and motivate these guys to be the best as they can, and he's reaping those benefits.
You mentioned familiarity. Can you help your defensive line? Because you know those offensive linemen on the other side?
Man, those guys, we worked, you would get to work with those guys 5 years. And so you know those guys pretty good. And but coaches don't play. Players play. So our guys got to continue to prepare and make sure that we're fluid and understanding in our game plan moving forward.
They say one of the things that makes Alex Grinch so good is that he's an unpredictable schemer. Is that accurate? What's that exactly?
I wouldn't say unpredictable, aggressive. He's an aggressive play caller, but I think those are the things that those guys continue to do well, is to position guys in the right places and demand their players to go 100 miles an hour. And those things, again, we're trying to get better and improve in that area. To play hard, strain 100 miles an hour, we do that, man. We get a shot. But Grinch, he's an up and coming, and he's been doing a fantastic job for the last few seasons.
I was a little late, sorry if I missed it, but what did you see in Hercules when you recruited him?
Saw a kid that loved the game, passion. His DNA and pedigree is a wrestler. And so when you have a kid that shows up on the film, the things that you're looking for, leverage, power, and those things, the rest of you got to coach. And probably the reason why a lot of teams didn't really pursue the kid, just never. It takes patience, and for me, it's not a difficult decision to go after that kid, and knowing that he's going to be a good one. And so it was just a matter of getting him over to Washington State and groom him and put him in a position to let him loose, and that's what you're seeing from her.
Monty's not putting up the stats like a guy like Jelks is doing, but really said he's playing at another level. What are you seeing that Monty does so well?
Leadership. Man, that kid got leadership skills. Those things, you can't fabricate it, and don't let the stats fool you. He's playing 100 miles an hour. And my goal is, and I said this from day one with our guys, my goal is not to slow him down, okay? Scheme and all those things, take that away. My job is to make sure that the front guys are running and hustling, and you know, he brings about that senior leadership and presence in our room that we need, and so we'll continue to ask him to just do his job and do it 100 miles an hour. Everybody else will rally.
I think you guys had 7 sacks last week. How are you so successful in bringing pressure against Cal?
Just being aggressive within our technique and within our scheme. I think the biggest the false perception is, you know, it's an individual play. You know, I think the one thing that we try to master is playing within the concept and the confines of our defense, and that's what's going on. Guys do what they're supposed to do, be in the areas that they're supposed to, and they're going to reap those. But then they got to be doing that at a high level and a temperament unknown to mankind, and you know, we'll continue to demand that of our guys.
They're up for the Polynesian Hall of Fame too. This upcoming class. What does that mean to you, and also just what does it mean, you know, to be a Polynesian?
Man, it's flattering just to even be mentioned by among those folks and those guys that played the game before. It's just an awesome news. But you know, again, you know, the biggest thing is trying to make sure that we pay it forward and give it back to the young and up and coming Polynesian athletes. But when you have a guy like Marcus that's done it the right way and all those things, it makes it easier to spread the word about academics, being a good person. There's all those tangibles that you can't coach. And again, we're recruiting everybody, but I'm going to try to make sure that we get our fair share of poly athletes here. And you know, they talk about the pipeline. I'm trying to get rid of the pipeline. I want to build a big interstate straight from the islands here in Eugene. So that's the goal.
How much do you think Marcus kind of opened the door for more Polynesian athletes to kind of come to, you know, the mainland?
Well, I think beyond the scope of poly, I think he opens the door with a lot of kids that they are aspired to be great at, that never got the look, never got the notoriety, never got the stars. He opens a lot of those doors, and he broke those doors down by being patient, but also when given the opportunity, he never shied away, and he led like a champ he is. But never the one trait of his that I'm always a fan of. He's the same guy, low key and never flashy, never out there. And so, you know, I think to that, you know, effect, you know, it just helps a lot, encourage a lot of kids, but also kids, again, over the islands that are aspired to leave the homeland to pursue those goals.
Washington State has an offensive lineman they call the continent. How do you move the continent? Where do you go around?
The continent are not formulated overnight. Those is a big man, and we just got to make sure we're sound fundamentals. You know, the game through it all. When you strip the game down to the bare bones, it's fundamentals and technique. And the continent is going to be the continent, and we can't worry too much about that. We got to make sure that we're taking care of what we need to get done and play team ball.
Being the defensive coach coming over from Washington State, what could you tell me about Herc and just sort of the namesake that he brings with him? It's just simple, something as simple as it's Herc.
Well, Herc is quiet. You know, you really have to be aggressive and engage in a conversation, because the Herc won't say but 1, 2 words. But that's commonplace in the personality of the kids coming off on the island. But you know, again, when it's time to strap it up and go, you know, you can count on him being there. So, you know, we got our work cut out, but we're excited about it.